have a sense of humor. It's just that I laugh randomly. Now let me tell you a little bit more about myself, okay? So just sit back and relax. Alright, you see, Willard is my name. That is who I is. Even though I'm Willard, you can call me Popadibs. I really like to talk and I really love to eat. I even name my username after a chocolate treat. If you like my channel, then sit back and listen. And if you truly love me, you bring me your piece of chicken. Welcome, my dipsticks. How does that sound for a subscriber named Dipsticks? You know, for all my subscribers. I thought of it all by myself. Actually, it kind of sounds insulting. Sorry. You know, the other day, I was in deep thought, and I decided to ask myself a question. So I asked myself, Self, how does one empower oneself? And myself replied, in which I replied,
well, actually, I'm doing it for a YouTube video. If you don't mind, would you please answer my question?
And this pretty much sums up the answer that myself had to provide to myself. Okay, fine. I'll explain everything to you. Okay, there's a lot of focus on empowering oneself, which is all good and gravy. But before one can empower oneself, they have to focus firstly and more importantly on embettering oneself. Why? Well, it's simple. You see, to be empowered isn't necessarily to be in control, but to be in control is to be empowered. Therefore, if you embetter yourself, if you improve, well then, you see, you will be less likely to be corrupted by your power. You will be in control of the power that you harness. Your power won't take control of you, because we all know that absolute power corrupts absolutely. But if you embetter yourself, then you can begin to take control of your own life, therefore empowering yourself. So before we can even begin to empower oneself, we need to focus on embettering ourselves so that when we are empowered, we don't become corrupted and consumed with the power that we have. So, the question is, how do we embetter oneself?
No, wait, that wasn't a thought, that was a mosquito. But I did catch him, he tried to bite me. But I'm still thinking. Okay, I think I got it, for real, seriously.
You know, a lot of people have belief systems and a lot of people have, moral values and such. But I think if you really want to begin bettering oneself, the first thing that we really need to do, if we really want to better ourselves, we need to evaluate ourselves. Because how do you solve a problem? You have to first recognize what the problem is. So we can't better ourselves if we don't take the time to evaluate ourselves. We have to realize our strengths and weaknesses first. So I think that's the first thing. We must evaluate ourselves. Okay, let me get serious because this is a serious topic. I mean, seriously. But after we evaluate ourselves, we need to actually challenge ourselves, because anybody can look at their characteristics and distort it to mean anything they want. You know, you can, so, excuse me, man. I should have ate that hoagie after the video. But, what was I saying? Okay, anybody can look at one's characteristics, okay, and distort it to mean whatever they want, because sometimes when you look in the mirror, you don't like what you see. So saying, that you're going to evaluate oneself is one step, but we have to actually challenge ourselves. And once we challenge ourselves, then we can begin to progress. Of course, when I mean challenge oneself, it's basically to set a goal to do better. That's the challenge. Set a goal to improve oneself. Then, after we evaluate ourselves and challenge ourselves, we have to dare ourselves, because we have to feel provoked to have a reason to want to better ourselves. So we have to dare ourselves to do better. Okay, after we evaluate ourselves, we challenge ourselves, and we dare ourselves to do better. Well, now what we need to do is educate ourselves. Why? Because knowledge is power. I mean, the whole focus is on embettering oneself to empower oneself, right? So we need knowledge. We need to educate ourselves. Once we educate ourselves, and we have information is power. And the whole knowledge is power thing, I know you've heard it before. I know you've all heard it. And you probably think it's cheesy, but you're going to have to just take my word for it, because I saw it on a fortune cookie. I ate the fortune cookie, and my fortune said knowledge is power. So you're just gonna have to take my word on it. You have to be pretty silly not to believe that, because fortune cookies are so sweet. How can they lie? Okay, we've already evaluated ourselves. We've already challenged ourselves. We've already dared ourselves, and we've educated ourselves. Now, what we need to do is evaluate the education that we receive. I know, evaluation again. Well, see, the thing about it is knowledge is power, but you want to make sure that the information you receive isn't misinformation. That's why you need to question sometimes the knowledge that you receive, to make sure that the knowledge that you receive is legitimate. Because just because you learn something doesn't mean what you learn is right. So it's a good idea to not only get educated, but to question that educated. Some people that educated, see that the question that education, because some people might consider themselves wise to be able to answer questions, but I think it's a sign of wisdom to be able to question the answers that we get sometimes. Okay, so on the journey to embetterment, we've already evaluated ourselves. We've already challenged ourselves. We've already dared ourselves to do better. We've already, educated ourselves, and we've evaluated the education that we receive. At this point, what's left for us to do is to put our information in formation, because now knowledge is power. But I mean, even when you have a vehicle, it has a certain level of horsepower or whatnot, but it means nothing if you don't put the key into the ignition. And actually, I don't think you saw that thing with my hand. Let me show you what I did with my hand. So like with the ignition. But anyways, though, you have to put the information in formation, because it's useless to know what to do if you don't do anything about it. So basically, that's pretty much the conclusion that I've come to after asking myself over and over again all these questions, and I finally decided to ask them how to empower oneself. And in order to empower oneself, you really need to embetter oneself. And in order to do so, remember this. Are there other ways to embetter oneself? I'm pretty positive there are. There's examples, and then there's other general examples, but those are quick guidelines that you can use to better oneself. And I think that can help anyone embetter themselves just by those 6 steps. And of course, if you have anything to add to the discussion, feel free to leave a comment or a video response below. I look forward to your responses, and until next time, have a great day, my dip. Well, I mean, come on, this dipsticks, man. I mean, my name is Popadibs. What else do I got to work with here? I'll think of something else if you don't like it.